Today, we're going to be talking about one of the most important topics in B2B marketing, one that is so commonly misunderstood as well, which is setting marketing objectives. The way that I go about setting marketing objectives with my coaching clients and with the corporate companies that I consult with is a little bit different than the mainstream SMART goals that we learn about. It's one that I came up with after doing extensive research into all the different ways you can do this. And just after writing hundreds of marketing strategies over the years, probably, and guiding and advising on those, I started to realize that I needed to come up with a formula that was going to allow us to not only set the goals, but also in parallel with that, create the plan of how that was going to actually happen. Because sometimes just writing an isolated goal just feels a little bit like this thing you've created and then it gets forgotten. The process I'm going to share today is going to show you how you can create your goals, but at the same time, delve into the process you're going to follow to achieve them as well. Let's start with a quote. I'm all about quotes. A goal without a plan is just a wish. This is a really famous quote to do with marketing. And I love this so much because I don't know if anyone else has felt this, but when I was in corporate and I was a little bit newer to marketing, I did feel like I would write these goals and I wasn't sure if they were relevant or even meant anything. And they'd kind of just be written on a piece of paper. And then what I didn't really connect with it. And I think that's the most important thing to talk about today is how can we make sure that we're creating goals that we can actually deliver on and that are linked with the overall business strategy. So this process is going to really help you with that. First of all, a nice little reading here from a brilliant article I found on foundationinc.co. Trying to achieve your goals without a plan is a bit like navigating a grocery store without a list. You might pick up everything you were supposed to, but more likely you'll miss a few important things and end up with some impulse buys you don't actually need. When you set out to complete a goal, you want to have a clear path, you want to define your path for doing so. And this is so important again, because this session is almost more about how to execute your goals and how to achieve them rather than just how to write a goal, because I know from speaking to loads of you in the past, from all of the coaching work I've done with marketers and company directors, is that everyone can write down a goal, but how do we actually achieve that is a very different thing. What are the risks of not having marketing objectives? A lot of you are marketers yourselves. Some of you are company owners. A lot of companies I work with who don't have an in-house marketing team or are relatively junior to marketing, or are what I like to call the marketing unicorn, which is where you have a marketer who is just bombarded with tasks, asked to do everything. They're responsible for creating design on Canva, they're sending out the emails, they're writing the emails, they're writing the literature, and they become virtually a dumping ground for the sales team and the executive team. And what happens here is they don't really have time to set these marketing objectives. And so they end up just kind of doing stuff. And then at the end of the year, it's like, hey, why didn't you get results? And yeah, Cara says she's felt like a unicorn. We all have, and they don't exist. So it's pretty hard to feel that way. And so we get into this rut of expecting our marketers to do everything. So then they have no space or time to be strategic. The risk of not having marketing objectives is that we waste our budget. We just do stuff and we try loads of different things. And that didn't work. So let's try something else. That didn't work. Let's try another thing. Oh, we've posted 6 blogs, but didn't get anything. Let's try YouTube. Now let's try emails now. And then we get so busy with tasks that we don't actually end up following a plan of action anyway. The other risk is that our activity is completely divorced from the overall business strategy. So you could have the directors over here who have a plan of action for what the company needs to do. For example, you could have a marketer who's become obsessed with generating inquiries through the website, where the directors are more concerned about the fact they've been losing work to cheaper competitors, and actually they're really struggling with that. I've actually done that in the past. When I was a very junior marketer, I was really proud of myself for doubling inquiries through the website, and the directors were like, well, these are poor quality fit. These are not actually the size or profile of business we want to work with. And actually our main issue at the moment is operational resourcing and making sure we're fulfilling customer needs. So that's a really interesting one to keep your eyes on. The other one is mismanagement of agencies. If you're a company director or company owner and you have in-house marketing people, or if you're a marketer who manages marketing partners, what can happen is we expect the world from the marketing partner. So we think that by working with them, they're going to overcome all of our problems. We need new work in the door, and they're playing a small part within what should be an overall strategy. And we end up mismanaging them. So after 6 months, we're like, hey, what have you achieved? And they're like, oh, well, we delivered X, Y, Z, but obviously you would need to turn that into clients. And what are you doing surrounding that? And then we go, oh, well, you're a waste of money, and try someone else. And then the cycle repeats. And so when we don't have objectives to say to a partner, hi there, this is why we've hired you. This is the marketing objective that you're going to support us in achieving. And we're doing lots of other things surrounding that. And you're by no means responsible for achieving this objective. You play a part in that. Then we can better manage them. Also, measuring things that don't matter. You often see, and again, I've done this, so please don't feel like this is me dissing you. I've done it where I've created marketing reports where the stats that I present to the director, a number of engagements on social posts and website visitors. Those, as we're going to see today, are what we would call success indicators, but they're not key results, which is what we need, such as actual money into the pipeline. Measuring things that don't matter also starts to erode at the business's faith in marketing. And this is where we start being told we're the fluffy team. We're grappling at anything we possibly can to justify that we are delivering some form of results to the business. And actually the company's like, well, that doesn't mean anything. So whether or not it's good or bad to have these things that we're measuring on, it's always good to have engagement with social and visitors to our website. It doesn't really mean anything in the broader business context. How are we going to set marketing objectives? Let's jump into what you're going to need. Before you start the process I'm about to share you, some of the things, the list is exhaustive. There are so many things that you could need based on what your business is doing. But I would say what you're going to need from your business in order to create good marketing objectives is going to be the basic one. What are the sales revenue targets? A really good thing to go to your directors and say, or your finance director, and they will be really pleased that you did this. What you're going to want to do is say to them, okay, could you please tell me for our last financial year, when that closed, what was our revenue? What did we sell that year? Okay, it was 1.2 million. Great, thank you. And what is our revenue target for this financial year? And you can ask them, when does our financial year run, if you don't know that already? For a lot of companies in the UK, that's 1st of April, the new financial year starts, and then it closes on the 31st of March. By asking them those things, they're going to see that you really care about the overall success of the business. We need to know those numbers because we want to know what we're going for. We also are going to want to know data such as the average order value or average customer spend annually, so that we can understand, okay, based on what we need to achieve this year, how many customers is that going to be? And how is that going to be broken down? Things like conversion rate. I like to keep this stuff basic. I don't want to go into like fancy language where people are going to feel alienated or like, oh my gosh, I don't know what that is. But conversion rate is essentially, many of you will know this already, but conversion rate is, okay, for every quote that we sent out for an opportunity, this is how many we win. So we win 1 in 3 quotes that we send out. So the conversion rate would be 1 in 3. And so where you get to then is that you can have things like, okay, in order to get 8 sales, we would need 24 opportunities quoted for, which means we would need 60 sales leads, which means we would need 90 inquiries. So the marketing goal could be, we need to generate 90 inquiries because we know how our conversion funnel works. We also might want to look into other things like metrics on awareness and things like that, but I don't want to go into too much fussy detail at this point there's so many things. Also, understanding your buyer journey. There are loads of different ways of doing this. You've got, marketing qualified lead, sales qualified lead. The way that I do it is like really simple language. You've got person, like a person in the world who you could work with someday. They don't know about you yet. You haven't found them yet. They haven't engaged with anything. They're a person. They're an ideal client who's walking around, and you might like to give them a name if you're going to do some ideal client work, which we can cover in another session. And then what we're aiming to do is turn that person into an audience member. You could call them a contact. We want to get that person to be someone that we own as we have them as a piece of data. And there's a lot of argument about whether gating content is good or bad. I personally think that every marketer should be working hard to get the contact information for the people that they would like to sell to. And so I'm a firm believer that getting data is really good and housing it in a really good customer relationship management software. That's the first step. Now, this is somewhere that people go really wrong. If someone downloads a really nice high value ebook that you've produced or signed up for a webinar that your subject matter expert is hosting, and they've asked some questions of your business, they're not a lead, they're a contact. So there's somebody that we want to nurture. By all means, look into who they are. And if they've really engaged with you on a few occasions, brilliant, it's worth getting in contact, but we need to see them as an audience member. They're part of our audience that we own. The next step would be a prospect. They're potentially going to be an opportunity for us. I call this an inquiry. When someone says, yes, I would like something from you, I'd like to work with you. This could come through your website. So you get an inquiry in, and then it's up to sales and marketing together to decide if that is a sales lead. I have personally cut out marketing qualified lead and sales qualified lead from this. If you can do that, that's the ultimate aim, is that sales and marketing are aligned on what is a sales lead. I think every marketer today should be aiming for that amount of integration across teams. We get the inquiry in, and then marketing assess whether it's fit for purpose as a sales lead. Well, really, that's kind of the same thing. The next step from that would be opportunity. So technically that could be sales qualified lead, but opportunities, we are actually quoting for this now. We've had an inquiry, we've assessed that it's fit for purpose and that it's right for the business and we would want to quote. And now we've got them to the stage where we are actually quoting. It's a live opportunity that needs to be followed up. And then the last step would be customer. So understanding the buyer journey at your business is really important. Speak to your sales team. If you already have a marketing buyer journey, have a look at it yourself, map it out, make sure you're clear on it, because I think that's really important when you're setting objectives. Now, this is the process. So there are a few different steps, and it's a little bit of a different way of doing it than SMART. I had been struggling with traditional marketing objective setting techniques for so long because I was becoming obsessed with the objective being measurable, time-based, and it was kind of like restrictive, and it was focusing too far on the output. Sometimes and often the objective is more about setting the clear strategic direction and the path we need to take in order to help achieve the overall company goal. If we start with company goal, what does everyone in the business need to get behind and achieve? And then the marketing objective is a statement, which I'm going to give examples in a minute, to set clear strategic guidance as to what the strategic direction will be, what's the path going to be. The key result is going to be what will be achieved. What's the measure? What's the metric? And the activities then are, what will I do to get there? And then we also have success indicators. These are often called KPIs. I don't know why, but I just find it like the word KPI just feels like jargony. And I always try to use normal language when I'm coaching and when I'm talking about marketing. And so I don't know why, I just changed the name to success indicator, because I just feel like it just sounds so much nicer and simpler and more basic. The success indicators would show us that we're on track to achieving the key result. Very often we see examples of activities, not objectives. This is really common to see. If someone shares with me, oh, here's my marketing objectives I've created, it will be examples of activities, not objectives. And in a minute, I'm going to share with you two examples of how to structure these. So the first one could be, my marketing objectives are launch new website, carry out a rebrand, conduct market research study. Oh, sometimes people write marketing objectives that are actually the KPIs or the success indicators, not the actual objective. And this is really common. I would say that of pretty much every marketing plan I've been shown in my coaching sessions with B2B marketers, it's usually that they have success indicators as objectives. So for example, that could be achieve 2,000 additional web visitors a month, build a community of 2,000 members, increase LinkedIn engagement by 20. And so these are examples that are not marketing objectives. Let's hop into the examples. Two examples, and I want to just share two. One of them that is not the traditional growing in revenue, because there is so much more to marketing than just growing in revenue. The definition of marketing is satisfying customer needs profitably. And really, if you think about that, that's not just about making sales. There is so much more to marketing than just getting sales, because you can't satisfy customer needs profitably if all you're doing is selling. So marketing has to be involved in the delivery of promise and brand, in making sure that what we promise that we're selling is going to fit the bill, and that people wouldn't want to just go off and find someone else. The first example I'm going to share today is for a company who are struggling to get new business, a company who wants more leads. This is the most popular topic I'm asked when I'm coaching with directors. I'll say, Jade, how can you help me get more leads? And so this is how we would approach this. And example 2 is going to be about a company who is losing customers to a cheaper competitor, another really common issue where we have price sensitivity, maybe some brand differentiation issues. So example 1, and I will read it out for anyone who is on the podcast or anything like that. The scenario is that a company is struggling to get new opportunities into the business. The background information is that the average deal is £15,000, dollars, whatever you want to call it. We're going to talk about pounds today. £15,000. The sales team close 1 in 3 of every opportunity that is quoted for. And out of every 10 sales leads, 8 of them become opportunities. Of every 10 inquiries, 6 become leads. Wow, I didn't think I was a mathematician. So that's the background for this marketing team. The company goal. So company goal is, what is everyone in the business working toward achieving? Side note, you can have multiple company goals that are attached to an overall business strategy. So this is one strand of a company's overall business strategy. So one of their company goals is, we need to grow new business revenue by an additional 120K. Typically, you could say this is the sales target. The key result of that, because we have got an average order value of 15K, is we need to get 8 new business customers by the end of financial year. Additional, because it's additional revenue. What gets a bit different here is that usually the marketing objective would be something like, achieve this amount of inquiries in order to get those customers. But in the way that I do it, the marketing objective is more about setting the overall strategic direction for getting into the deeper issue, because really the issue is not just about getting some more sales. The issue is deeper than that. If I make my objective only about inquiries, I become obsessed with inquiries and I forget about what is really important, which is become more known among ideal clients that are unaware of the business and attract them to want to work with the company based on our differentiated strengths. Some could argue, yeah, but you can't measure that. Okay, fine. That's where the marketing key result comes in. So that looks like, what is the key result that we will be going for to make us know that we are doing well with this objective? That would be achieve 50 inquiries by January 2024. We know that the financial year ends the end of March. And so what we need to do is make sure that by January we've got 50 inquiries so that the sales team can close those 8 clients by the end of the financial year, because we don't want to have those inquiries and then they haven't got time to work through the sales pipeline, because this company knows that it takes 3 months to close an opportunity. 50 inquiries would mean however many opportunities, and then sales would close 1 in 3. Now, here's where I really love this process and this formula, is that we would then have activities aligned with the marketing objective. Because if the marketing objective was achieve 50 inquiries, the activities would be only focused on lead generation. And again, this is a huge pain point among marketers at the moment. It's like, my goal is to achieve inquiries, but I can't get my head out of that, even though I know there's more to it. So because our marketing objective on the screen is more focused around the deeper long-term issue, our activities that we line up with it can be much more wedded to that. So the activities here is, number 1, revisit our brand positioning to ensure it's setting us apart from the competition. If you don't know much about brand positioning, have a little look on my podcast or YouTube, and I did a live lesson literally on brand positioning a couple of weeks ago. So that's well worth a watch. Number 2, the activity we're going to do is launch a podcast and webinar series with our subject matter expert. 3, we're going to overhaul our online presence with a website user journey audit enhanced service pages, enhanced advertising landing pages. We'll incorporate animation, video content, explainer guides. So basically making all of the pages better that people land on in order to better convert them. We're going to partner with a social media advertising company to promote our content online, since we need to reach more people who don't know us. We're going to select industry influencers to contribute to a quarterly ebook style magazine to get in front of new eyes and build trust and legitimacy. So if people don't know you yet, if you're partnered with a figure in your industry that they really know and trust, and then they see you with them, it really can do a lot for building audiences. And then design a contact strategy that encourages data capture and then nurtures through use of email, phone, and other tactics. It's very rounded because the direction and focus we're going for is to become more known among ideal clients that are unaware of the business and attract them to want to work with us based on our differentiated strengths. We've got our eye on the key result, which is 50 inquiries, but the activities align with the objective. Success indicators, you could call these key performance indicators, KPIs. So how will we know we're on track to achieving our key result? So for the first one we talked about, which was revisit brand positioning and ensure it's setting us apart, success indicators would be an increased conversion rate, going from winning 1 in 4 to 1 in 3 when in competitive processes. And as you know, this company, when you think about it, they only need to win 8 clients, which means they have the ability to be very connected with the people they're selling to. And so they would literally be able to ask, hey, could we ask, why did you choose us? And those companies would say, do you know what? You just really hit the nail on the head with everything we've been going through, all our frustrations, and you really got to the point. That tells you you've got great brand positioning. So that would be, okay, we increased our conversion rate, one more work because we're nailing it with our brand positioning, our messaging. Number 2, when it came to launching a podcast, would be and a webinar series. Number 2, the success indicators would be number of podcast listens and signups to the webinars. So then using the lead source and attribution models. Number 3, when we looked at overhauling our online presence and enhancing our website, we would have increased website traffic by 15% and visit to inquiry by 20%. So those are good metrics that you would use to say, oh, this is working. Number 4, when we partner with a social media advertising company, you would have engagement metrics as your measure, such as comments, questions, webinar signups. Yes, things like reach and likes and stuff. But for me, the sign of great content is people asking questions on your content, is people, clicking through to links, commenting on it, adding to the debate. Likes are not to be ignored, but you know that you're hitting the nail on the head when you start to get comments and questions. Number 5, selecting industry influencers to build the brand. The way that we'd measure that is, for example, achieve 400 pieces of data captured from the report downloads. So throughout this year, we want to grab 400 pieces of data that we can put into our system and try and turn into sales leads. Number 6, designing a contact strategy that encourages data capture. Number of contacts in the database would be a measure. Length of sales cycle. Number of opportunities, all these things. Obviously, this is a made-up example, but that gives us an example of how following this process gives you kind of a marketing plan. It's not just the objectives. Okay, scenario 2. This one is one that people find trickier. It's when it's not based on revenue growth targets. So example 2, the scenario is that a company is losing customers to a cheaper competitor. And so the company goal is, let's achieve 70% renewal of existing customers for the coming financial year. The company key result will be 80 renewed customers, 80 renewal signups by the end of March. The marketing objective, again, is not going to be a number of things to achieve. It's going to be understand customer needs more closely in order to better meet them and enhance our offering in line with that. So again, it goes to the deeper issue. Marketers need to say, hi, director, why are they going elsewhere? This is not just about pounding the phones and trying to get people to re-sign. We need to understand, why are they going to others? Yes, the others are cheaper, but they clearly feel that there's not the right value exchange to warrant staying with us. And so that's the marketing objective here. Now, the marketing key result would be generate 150 demo calls, i.e. get people on the phone to talk about new product features and encourage them to re-sign. Achieve and maintain a net promoter score above industry standard. Another one would be if we can enhance our net promoter score, we've been successful in that. And then the activities that we could carry out. Number one, conduct customer and market research to get qualitative insights. That means in-depth interviews, not just percentages of numbers, into how our service lines up with customer needs versus that of the competition. Use these insights gathered to work with operations and customer-facing teams to improve how we deliver to our customers. Number two, activity could be launch a campaign to set up new product features demo with key account customers. Number three, improve customer experience by creating a project team, including customer service and IT, to find out how we can bring in new technology that reduces manual effort from both us and our customers. And number four could be about launch a content marketing program, maybe a loyalty scheme, anything that is going to help reduce price sensitivity, an education piece. How are we going to educate our customers about the benefits of working with us and how going with cheaper options means you're going to lose out on something? Success indicators would be feedback from customers on improved elements of the service in line with the first one, and an improved net promoter score. Number two would be the number of demo signups and engagement with our demo signup campaign. Number three would be customer service efficiencies. So if we're looking at bringing in new tech to make things less manual, because that can genuinely be a reason why people don't want to work with us, is it's just more fussy than dealing with other competitors. Looking at customer satisfaction levels against KPIs for the customer service team. And then number four could be engagement with content, attendance at our webinars, feedback from customers anecdotally. Again, we're not dealing with huge numbers here. So them telling us, oh, wow, that what you sent me that week was so interesting. I had this yesterday with a client. I was on the phone to a CEO I work with, and she's like, oh, Jade, I was just reading your article on LinkedIn about how to get leads in 2023. And I really want to talk about point two. So that for me tells me that my content is helping educate a client. So what happens next once you've done all of that? I would suggest setting a realistic marketing budget. This needs to be between 4 to 8% of the company's turnover. I have a full article on this on the website, beaniemarketing.co.uk. It shows you step by step how to create a marketing budget. Even if you just do this exercise to demonstrate yourself whether your marketing budget is too low or too high, it also tells you all of the things that you'll need to ask your finance team for in order to know how to set your budget. Setting a budget is really important because it helps us to know what activities we can invest in. And like I often say, doing 2 or 3 things really, really well with the right amount of budget, rather than trying to cut corners and have cheaper partners and, not using the best in class, is always going to bring you more results than trying to do loads of things. Align yourself with the sales team. Agree together. What is a sales lead? What's a good quality lead? Who are we going after? Who are we trying to bring into the business? And just get really close, make sure the process is joined up. And then develop your strategy. You'll need an overall strategy, a plan that supports your objectives, and going ahead with a marketing program planner. And the last thing I wanted to say, now that the heavy stuff's finished, don't forget about your personal goals. This workshop is about goal setting. And I really want to get across that as marketers, we feel like the marketing unicorn. We're constantly asked to do hundreds of tasks at once. We don't know what to prioritize, don't know what to focus on. Check in with yourself and what do you want? How does your future look? What is your career looking like? Are you happy in the company that you're in? Is this where you want to stay? What would need to change about the company if you're going to stay? Do you want to end up a marketing consultant working for yourself? Do you want to be the marketing director? Are you happy where you are as marketing assistant or manager? How do your colleague relationships need to change? Do you need to learn some assertiveness skills to, move away from this idea of like you're the dumping ground and you just do all this tactical stuff? Do you need to make a case for more marketing investment? And what do you need from your organization in order to achieve what you want this year? A lot of people that I coach, they find that they just feel completely locked into this hamster wheel of activity. And it's like, what do you want? Do you want to be doing that? Because you have got power as well. You can educate your directors and you can raise a case for increased budget and doing things right. But it all starts with the learning. You can catch up with loads of episodes on my podcast. It's called the B2B Marketing Gap. You can just search it on Spotify or through the links in any of my bios to my website. And you can catch all of the webinar replays on the YouTube channel. And if anyone has any questions for me, always feel free to get in contact. I would really love to see you again. For anyone who needs more of a one-to-one coaching, you can have a look on my website, on my services page. It details how they work. They're like one-off sessions that you just book in as and when if you need some extra help. But my goal is to help as many marketers as possible and as many business owners as possible to get the results they need, even if that means they never need me, because I can't coach that many people. So the more people who come to these and just get my help for free, that makes me happy. So thanks to everyone. It's been really fun talking to you all. And I will speak to you sometime soon. Thanks all. Bye.